The presenting sponsor for OnEducation is Classcraft. We're so excited to announce Classcraft's new story mode, which makes it easy for educators to harness the power of stories. But that's not all. Have you ever wanted to see yourself as a character in a story? Now teachers and students can create their custom game avatars and see them come to life on an augmented reality poster. To learn more about Classcraft's story mode and the new AR experience, simply visit classcraft.com.
It becomes Flipgrid the movement rather than Flipgrid the company, right?
I love that.
Oh, there it is. We are here with Jornea and Jess from Flipgrid.
Hey! Good
Welcome
morning.
to the show. This is exciting.
It's super exciting because this is the home base of Flipgrid. If anybody doesn't know that, we're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and actually this evening or this afternoon, there's a giant Flipgrid event that's always a special. I told Mike it's the event of previously the TIES conference and now the Impact Education Conference, something that we all need to attend and experience. Actually, you guys' offices and just the culture that you guys create there, it's just amazing. I was even telling my former student Connor about making sure that he makes an association with it, because what a company to be able to be associated with, work for, and to represent. That's obviously what you guys are actually doing. And it's amazing that it's part of the state and the specific city. So welcome to the podcast, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here.
So what's it like working at Flipgrid?
Sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, a love fest.
It actually sounds exactly
brainsies.
like that.
Yeah,
when we
it is.
yeah.
It's what it is.
Like inspired every day by the stories coming from around the world of ways educators are empowering students. We love to say, share, celebrate, and showcase student voice, and that literally fills our heart with sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows.
Most people would just say that and then say that like in a sarcastic tone. You know what I mean?
Right.
About their jobs, but I totally believe it.
It really is.
As far as the culture that you guys have built, the community obviously too that follows and is part of the Flipgrid community, but the employees, just when you come to you guys' workplace, and that's what you're going to see too, Mike, today, there's some joy in everybody's like faces and demeanor about just being able to be part of the company itself.
It's because every single person that works on the company really truly believes in the purpose behind what Flipgrid is. And so the community is just, it feeds us, it fuels us, it fills our hearts every day. And so that joy that you're talking about that's in the office is very genuine because we all believe in what we're doing.
Awesome.
What are so you're here, and obviously this is like your home conference, for lack of better words, and you're giving away like. So let's talk about before we talk about the giveaways, because that's like the punchline. What are you're doing sessions? Obviously, talking to educators. What are you talking to them about?
So we're talking all things Flipgrid. So you can come to our sessions and learn ways to empower and amplify student voice using Flipgrid and the various features of Flipgrid in creative ways. So in one of our sessions, we'll do kind of like a basic intro into Flipgrid for people just getting started. Mm-hmm. And then in other sessions, we'll dive deep into how to get connected with other classrooms around the world, with Grid Pals. We even have some Flipgrid AR fun planned for most of our sessions. And then also we'll do a fun flip hunt at the very end in our Flipgrid Fever workshop, in which people will really play around with the tool, create what we're calling the Flipgrid. What do we want to
You're
call
going to make
it?
this up right now, and I'm here for it.
We
it's
have
great.
all these awesome hashtags. So whether it's a Flipmoji scene, taking all those cool features in the Flipgrid camera and just stickering, your screen out, or creating a flip hunt or using Flipgrid AR. It's basically a play and learn kind of session at the very end.
One of my favorite tools that you guys introduced this summer at ISTE, I think it was ISTE, and as soon as I saw it on the screen, I was like, oh my God. That's all I could say is that shorts feature as far as the tool there within Flipgrid. And I just was thinking about Mike's favorite digital app. What is that app that you always talk about?
Explain Everything?
Explain Everything. So I was like, Flipgrid was already amazing and awesome in a way to be able to do so many different things, and I used it in my Spanish class all the time. And then with this tool, it was like this new element of being able to display a student, to be able to display kind of what they've learned in a way that's tools like Explain Everything or other things, and kind of smash it together into one place. I was like, and free. I was as speechless
Right.
as you guys were, presenting on that. I was like, oh, this is a super game. I texted Mike right away as I was there in the audience, and I was like, this is a game changer. Yeah.
Well, we love to think with Shorts it allows you to create in one place but share everywhere. And the beauty of all of the new tools like the text features, the whiteboard, blackboard mode, the inking. There's a new rainbow tool in the inking. So when we say sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, you'll see a lot of unicorns in the office this afternoon. But the limitless possibilities.
Yes.
For ways students can create, the ways educators can create. It's all of these pathways for people to share their learning. So the new features, they make us excited as educators as well, because learning looks different for every student. So the tools embedded within the camera experience in Flipgrid, right in Shorts where educators can create in their own, account, truly changes the possibilities for what can be shared. And then the beauty is that little Flipgrid AR QR code is automatically generated. So anything that's on Flipgrid can be displayed and celebrated with augmented reality.
Ugh. So much to that, too.
The tool is unbelievable. Like, when you think of it from almost like a technology perspective, like, the tool is unbelievable. And so Glenn, I used to talk about Explain Everything all the time. I always said if there was the one tool that you couldn't, if you had to just choose one thing. And I'm really, really close, because now actually when I'm reflecting on it and thinking about it, especially the last year or so, when people have asked me about that one tool, I'm almost always saying Flipgrid more than I'm saying Explain Everything in a lot of cases. And I'm always stunned when teachers don't even know what Flipgrid is. There's still room, which is unbelievable to me that there are people that still don't know about it. And it's great that you guys are out and you tour. So tell us about the tours, because I actually love this, that you guys do this. You travel all over the place and with your people, and you hold events, which transform a school. Talk about those a little bit, because I think they're amazing. It's brilliant.
So we call them bus tours.
Sure.
But disclaimer, we don't have a bus, so sometimes people get a little
Though
upset
it's
when we
coming,
show
I'm
up in an
sure.
SUV or something. But so we go to different schools, and we do either what's called a student voice rally. So whether that be hundreds of students and just explaining to them the story behind Flipgrid and just talking to them about why their voice is important and those kinds of things, or we do exploration. So sometimes we just go to the schools and are going to classrooms and seeing the incredible things. That's personally my favorite, just getting to see what teachers are doing and celebrate that with them. It's unbelievable. And then sometimes we have different events at either Microsoft stores or just at a place where educators can come and just hang out and network. And it's so much fun. Exhausting sometimes, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have done it, as far as the company has done it, the best. As if you're talking about building a community.
Yeah.
And people have talked to
Yeah.
us about that. We were doing a workshop session, and one of the topics was about how do you create a community around whatever it is that you are passionate about. Your community is ridiculous. It always, almost instantaneously, once I started seeing it on Twitter with Flipgrid Fever, and just the community itself is a huge advocate for the tool itself, but then also it's its own thing too. So it's not just, hey, Flipgrid the company, but it's almost like there's a group of impassioned educators who want to or have the same vision as you guys do, which talk about building the perfect type of community. So
It becomes Flipgrid the movement rather than
Yes.
Flipgrid the company. Right?
I love that.
Oh,
yes,
there
yes.
it is.
I think I'm
And
going to cut that out. Right.
I think what you just said too, it's connected educators who are passionate. And what do we do as educators? We want to empower our scholars to thrive, right? So I love that, the mission of Microsoft is empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. And ours is like coupled so beautifully with that to empower everybody to share their unique voice, but respect the diverse voices of others. And if you think about like the population of classrooms, everybody's different, everybody learns differently, but as educators, we are collaborative in nature. I tend to think, you want to share, you want to collaborate. And the cool thing about this community, it is just educators everywhere who literally embody the better together mindset. And the cool thing is I'm connected to you, Glen. So if I have a question, because guess what? I don't have all the answers. I can go right to you for inspiration, encouragement, ideas. Let's brainstorm. I mean, anything. So that's the beautiful thing about the community is we celebrate each other, we encourage each other, we lift each other up. I am inspired by your ideas. I'm going to give you credit for what you're doing. And that's like the nature of the community because hashtag better together, right? Like really, we mean it. And that's another thing that just inspires us so much by the incredible folks in the Flipgrid Fever community.
The biggest beneficiaries of all of this, we talk about all this, like building community and sharing ideas and all of the things that you're just talking about. And the reason why I tell people you need to get onto Twitter, for example, and they're like, I don't do social media. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Put that aside. That's negativity about social media. This is something different. This is a way to be able to connect to all of these people. But the biggest beneficiaries are our students. I mean, in the end, doesn't matter if a teacher, like I was in a little tiny school that I taught at with Connor, and I was the only language teacher, but I felt connected to this global community because I was part of these communities that you guys are actually building up, which I could actually reach out to other Spanish teachers around not just the country, but the world for inspiration, for ideas and those things. And the biggest beneficiaries were those kids in this little tiny rural school that would have never been able to get those things otherwise. So when I have some pre-service teachers at the University of Minnesota this year, and the first tool we talked about was Flipgrid. And what I wanted them to make sure that they understood is that though they may be familiar with Flipgrid, like they go, yeah, I know what it is. You record yourself, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. You don't get it. It is that. It is that kind of at the most simplistic, basic level when you're just describing. I was like, but it's much more than that. I was like, and that is actually the beginning of kind of the best part of technology integration is see a tool, but then see all of the different possibilities for it. And then if you can't see those possibilities, get involved in a community where they're showing you, because that's what we were talking about on the episode that we had you on before with Adam, is there's so many things that a lot of us don't even know you can do, that people have just gone like, check out what we're doing with this tool. And it's like the next level and the next level and the next example of how you can go ahead and do those things. And that's super inspiring as far as for all of us.
It's kind of like a continuous unboxing experience. So like the other night we were talking about these LOL surprise things. And it's all about the element of surprise, like what's inside. And every day it's like a new surprise for everyone. So whether it's an educator sharing something on Twitter, and then our team is inspired by it, and then we start working on something to try to make that process a little easier for educators, or another educator seeing an idea that's being shared on social media by another educator, and then they go, you know what? If that educator can do it, so can I. And, that unboxing experience in the classroom are those tweets where educators are like, I didn't even know this child was able to say this or do this. And I've learned so much about my students by watching their videos and hearing them communicate in the most beautiful ways. Some students may not even share in class, but they may go home, and Flipgrid is like that outlet for them to be able to share their unique selves in the space that they feel most comfortable in doing so. So it is a beautiful surprise every single day in every aspect. And we say, it's cyclical. Like, it's I guess a reciprocal kind of process, because although we're putting out these features literally every day, they're driven by the community and what the community is giving to us as feedback. And so please just keep using Flipgrid in the most beautiful ways that you can in your classroom and sharing what you're doing. And we'll try our best to keep meeting the needs of our community.
We have a huge favor to ask. We want to know, number one, what is it like to work with Charlie? And number two, can you please tell him that we want him on the podcast?
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll definitely pass that message on. Charlie is so inspiring. He is he's a unicorn in and of himself. He's absolutely brilliant. He's hilarious. And I don't want to, like, nonstop sounds like a weird word to describe, but we were in a session that 2 educators were doing yesterday, and something came up and we needed some feedback, and I dropped a message into our team. He was the first person to respond. And I said to the teacher, I said, I have an answer for you. The guy who created the app, he just responded to me. And on a Sunday afternoon, when an educator's at a conference and wanting to try something new or take a risk and step outside of the box, he's involved. He's at every level involved. And that to me is so inspiring because he's busy, he's nonstop, and he's invested because he's passionate about it. And it started as a project for him in his own university classroom at the University of Minnesota as a solution to a problem he found that he was facing. He was needing to stay in touch with his 12 students at the U while he was going to go on this expedition
Such a great
to
story.
study education.
Yes.
And so the fact that it's grown into this new global, platform, but he's still so passionately involved, it gives me goosebumps.
And he's so dang humble. I mean, when he speaks,
Yeah.
you're listening to the story and you're listening to the thing, and he is even, I mean, you can tell every step of the way he's been blown away by what's become of it, but it also embraced that and said, okay, we have a much bigger purpose now, and each step it continues to grow to this bigger and bigger purpose, which, we got to have him on the show for sure.
Yeah, and as our leader, that's our why. That's why we're doing it. It's to empower every voice. And as the vanguard and as the leader, he models that in everything. Hey, Charlie, you need to come on the OnEducation podcast, okay? FYI, I'm going to make sure we get this message to you, but I'm saying it again. Hey, Dr. Charlie Miller.
In classrooms, we speak a lot about mindset and growth mindsets. And, I feel with Flipgrid, it's one of those things that it's a mindset that continuously grows, because when new challenges present itself, it means new opportunities are right around the corner. And so you have to take action, on those opportunities to be able to meet those needs and to be able to think back, like, what is the mission? Are we living out our mission every single day? And that's one thing I think we can all say. It's a blessing to wake up and know that the mission that you are working really hard towards is being accomplished every single day in whatever you wake up doing for Flipgrid. So
You guys are giving away. We're at Impact, and we're looking down the hall. This is great for podcasts. We're looking down the hall at a whole bunch of your pods, your voice pods. You're giving those away, yes? So tell us
guess
about
where that idea came from.
Tell me.
An educator.
Yes. Right.
The pod
The
itself?
voice pods
pod
themselves,
itself. Yep.
yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so an
That's
educator, she
crazy.
wanted a way for students and their families to kind of come together after a hurricane to just kind of share special moments with one another. She ordered these green pods, and of course we saw it on social media.
Yeah.
It was like, that's an awesome idea. So we ordered them, put Flipgrid on them, and it became the Flipgrid Voice Pod. So now there's probably voice pods in so many different countries. I can't even count at this point, of students just sharing their voice. So it's just a symbol of, your voice is special and important. And if you need a space to record in, here's one.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so we're calling that the VoicePod Village, and we were down at the GAETC conference in Georgia a couple weeks ago, and so one of the educators set up a bunch of the voice pods, and basically it was like a physical space they had for educators to come leave a reflection, whatever. So while we've been talking with Kate and Cindy leading up to Impact this year, we were like, what about a voice pod village? And we've donated 20 of these as raffle prizes.
So awesome.
So basically, if educators...
And we have 2 as well.
Yeah, you have 2 to give away.
They're over there.
Yeah, and basically, if any educator comes and uses the flip code Impact EDU 19 and leaves a reflection, a session shout out, a learning moment, a takeaway, anything from the conference, that response is their entry to walk away with a voice pod.
Fantastic.
But the cool thing is we love to give away stuff, so all December long, we have a challenge going on where you can win the new Flipgrid beanies.
I love that.
If you're sharing out
Those are
like
awesome.
an example
I
of...
need one of those.
Yes.
Yeah,
for
using
Canada
Flipgrid AR.
winter
Hey,
nights.
a winter. Yeah. We need them here in Minnesota. It's cold, y'all.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just so many ways that educators can share. But you asked about how to get connected or stay in touch.
Yeah.
And that's one way. It's the hashtag, right? The hashtag is the community. Hashtag Flipgrid Fever. And that hashtag was started by an educator, Stacy Whitwood, here in Minnesota, local educator, and she was the first teacher ever to say,
do that.
I've got
I've got
Flipgrid
Flipgrid
Fever.
Fever.
And it became the like,
took off.
yeah, it's
became
the
a
community. So if any social platform, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, if you look for @Flipgrid or hashtag Flipgrid Fever, you can always find the community. Flipgrid.com is also a great place to get information. All of our email addresses, contact information can be found there. So basically, if somebody remembers Flipgrid, they can find
you.
us.
Yes.
I'm on social at AnnCosma723, so I love to get connected with folks as well.
Yeah, I'm Jess XBO.
And I'm savvy_educator.
Nice.
And 2, just our names as well with our email address. So Ann@Flipgrid.com, Jess@Flipgrid.com, Jornea@Flipgrid.com. So
That's
nice and
perfect.
easy. Yeah.
Easy.
It is.
Yes.
So Ann, Jornea, and Jess, thanks for joining us. This was great.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
so
us.
much for having us.
Thanks for listening to OnEducation. My name is Glen Irvin. My co-host is Mike Washburn. OnEducation is part of the Education Podcast Network. You can listen to this show and many others by great educators like Jennifer Gonzalez, Matt Miller, and many more by visiting edupodcastnetwork.com. Want to get in touch with us? Check out our website at oneducationpodcast.com. You can tweet us at oneducationpod. Mike is at Mr. Washburn on Twitter, and I can be found at Irv Spanish. You can find us on Facebook by visiting facebook.com/oneducationpod. We're also on Instagram at OnEducationPod. If you're enjoying the show and think others would too, we would be thrilled if you shared it with them. Please leave us a rating or review in Apple Podcasts or the Google Play Store. When you leave a rating, it gives our rankings a boost. This helps others discover the show. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, Classcraft, for supporting us. Check out classcraft.com/oneducation to learn more about them. Thanks as always for listening, stay awesome, and see you soon.